no secret hatches.
When 20-year-old Sierra Joggin tragically goes missing in Delta, Ohio, the race is on for the police to find her before she can meet a terrible fate.
Those case things were stacked like a room. There was a little area.
Oh, there was?
Like big enough for that mattress.
Really?
Yeah.
During the search, police make chilling discoveries inside a suspect's barn.
So you're gonna sick mother me and think it's all wild and strange. If you knew what I do for a living, it's dealing with twisted, sick mother.
Why do you gotta come at me like this?
Because I'm really kind of pissed right now. You embarrassed every one of us.
As haunting as these findings are, no one could have been prepared for the horrific revelation awaiting them within the depths of a hidden secret hatch. On July 19, 2016, 20-year-old Sierra Joggin spent the afternoon with her boyfriend before getting on her bicycle and starting the 8-mile ride back to her home. Unfortunately, this trip was one that Sierra would never complete. After not hearing from her for some time, Sierra's boyfriend Josh Kolosinski called her family to see if she'd arrived home. When her family realized that no one had seen or spoken with Sierra after she left Josh, they knew something was wrong. The police were contacted, and soon, a full search was underway. It didn't take long for authorities to find a sign of Sierra. However, what they found only filled them with dread. In a cornfield along County Road 6, Sierra's bicycle was found abandoned. Alongside it were earbuds, some fuses, a pair of men's sunglasses, and a motorcycle helmet. Although it wasn't much to go on, these odd findings did help point officers in the direction of a potential suspect. Josh Kolosinski was not only the last person to see and speak with Sierra, but he also rode a motorcycle. Agents from the FBI volunteered to help with the case, and they quickly sat Josh down for an interview. The following audio has never been heard before.
Last night, you get off work at 4?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me what. Take me through from when you get off and where you going.
Well, during the day, she texted me and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Come over." And she said, "Okay, I think I'm gonna ride my bike." We sat around for a little while. It was probably half hour, 45 minutes. We sat there and deciphered whether I should take her home or whether she wanted to ride her bike back. And she decided she wanted to ride her bike, and I had my motorcycle, and I figured, I'll follow her for a little bit and just kind of give her crap and stuff like that. So I followed her. She left. I followed her down the street, and I said, "All right." She said, "You can leave now." So kissed her goodbye, turned around. Wow.
Based on the helmet found at the abduction site, it seems likely that someone with a motorcycle was with Sierra when she was taken. And yet, there was also the chance that the two weren't alone that night, and someone else, someone with chilling intentions, was lurking nearby. With Josh's alibi clearly established, the FBI agents are beginning to doubt that he had any involvement in his girlfriend's disappearance. However, he can still provide them with some useful insight into the case.
What do you think?
What
do you think?
What happened? I don't know. I honest to God have no idea. I don't know if it was someone she knew, and that's what angers me. Sierra is a scrapper. She is. She is a strong girl, and if someone came up to her, she would have put up a fight. I guarantee it. Unless it happened like that. Unless it was, I can see her having her music in, you don't even hear someone coming up, and it's just bam. That'd be the only way.
Josh mentioning that Sierra was wearing earbuds that night confirmed for them that the earbuds found near her bike were hers. This theory still leaves investigators with some big questions. Who could have done this? And what were their plans for Sierra? Groups of volunteers from the sheriff's office and the FBI began going door to door, hoping to find someone who had any relevant information. With enough luck and determination, they just might be able to find Sierra alive. Although the locals wanted nothing more than for Sierra to be safely brought home, most of the door-to-door interviews were turning up nothing useful. Unfortunately, this streak of bad luck seemed like it would continue when a group stumbled upon the expansive property of James "Jim" Worley. He explained to them that he had been out riding his motorcycle the day Sierra went missing. However, it kept stalling, forcing him to push it most of the way down the road. Despite how long he was out on the road that evening, he never saw Sierra or anybody who might want to hurt her. He also informed investigators that his mother is old and sick, so he spends all his time at the house caring for her. It seems like this interview might be a bust until Jim mentions something that catches the investigators' attention.
Let's get back so we can get out of here and you can take care of Mom.
Okay.
There's two bikes.
I'm pushing.
And you're on.
And there's a cornfield, and I'm about half a mile down the road.
Okay.
There's 2 bikes sitting right in the wheat field. So back to the story here. I'm pushing my bike, and I had to stop, and there was bicycles sitting there. And I thought to myself, I ain't going to stay out here. I pushed my bike into the cornfield because the end rows are open. It's 500 pounds. You can't just take that thing through the goddamn cornfield. I was in my head thinking, I'm going to ditch this thing, but there's these bikes here. This is probably her bike and somebody else's bike. There was a blue one and a charcoal gray one, light charcoal gray colored, and they weren't put on their kickstands. They were just laying there.
Based on Jim's story, it seemed as though he'd been at the abduction site and may have seen something that could prove useful to the investigators. There was one slight problem with Jim's story, though, as he was claiming to have seen 2 bicycles when he was in the cornfield, but investigators had only found one. Had someone returned to the scene of the crime to collect their bike after Jim had left?
So, anyways, I'm right there, and I'm over boiling, and I look across the wheat field. I don't see no kids or nothing. There's nobody on the road. I didn't see anybody.
Okay.
And I thought, man, I'm going to stick my bike in here, and I'm going to walk home.
Yeah.
Problem is, I can't walk. I couldn't make it down to that stop sign and back because the sciatic nerve.
So you'd leave the bike in the cornfield?
I was thinking about it, and then I went ahead and I got it inside there, and I thought, now don't go ramping this up in your head. It's like, oh, we park the bike and attack the chick. That ain't, no. Well, so I screwed with it for a while, and I took a break. Well, anyways, I got in there, and I started messing with my stuff, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to turn this around, which I did. I got it back out, and I commenced to pushing, and then I made it home here about 10 o'clock. So, I need some water.
There's no denying that Jim is odd and more than a little blunt. While he may not have seen much during his bike ride, he's given the investigator some interesting information that might point them in the direction of the kidnapper. With that, the investigators prepare to make their way to the next house for another round of questioning.
Come on, please, everyone, just go.
We got stuff we got.
Well, you ain't heard much then of everything from me yet.
Oh,
have you?
I don't know.
You don't want to hear. You don't want to hear the rest of all this. Then why? So keep right on going.
Jim's interview thus far has been friendly and incredibly enlightening, but the more he tells investigators, the more they begin to suspect that there might be something more at play.
And if
Do you work on stuff like engines?
I'm a certified master mechanic in
Really?
2-stroke and 4-stroke. Well, come on, lady. Really wow me.
What?
I'm sick and tired of all the crap.
Yeah.
The detectives are doing an excellent job of building rapport with Jim and continue to be friendly with him, no matter what he says. The reason behind this is that they're trying to keep him as calm as possible to keep him talking. And as you'll hear, this tactic will work.
Now, I had traffic issue with my bike here the other day. I dealt with it the best I could. I never saw anyone. I saw 2 bicycles. That's it. My helmet's gone. My fuses are gone. My screwdriver's gone. And my glasses are gone.
While investigators know that Jim had briefly stopped by the suspected abduction scene, their suspicion grows as they hear that the items found at the abduction scene that didn't belong to Sierra all belong to Jim. Although they haven't implied that he's a suspect in any way, Jim seems to grow frustrated and paranoid the longer that the investigators are there.
Now, my brother was here, and once I got home, I'm on duty in here with my mom, which places me here.
Yeah.
Okay? You want to look this place over? Don't bring that with her dog. Bring your other dog and go over this whatever and get it done so that I'm out of it.
Jim's sudden aggression seems to come out of nowhere.
So are you really hitting every house up and down?
Yep.
Or did you find my fingerprints on a bike or something? Is there any information like that coming back on me?
No,
Did
you grab one
in the general area, and then we had a meeting this morning. We got to expand.
Everybody has to go out.
That's why we got so many people, and I know the county, so we're splitting up deputies with other officers because they don't know.
So you're going to tell me that this is all under the guise of just checking every household, and you're not here for any particular reason, okay? And that, you know, I know you got an ongoing problem, but don't try to beat me into the position of being part of it because I'm not. Just plain and simple. And I have witnesses that can tell you the last few days I've been here. And how are you going to kidnap somebody or take them on a motorcycle?
This extreme paranoia is likely becoming a red flag for investigators. Why would Jim think that the police were targeting him specifically for this case if he had nothing to do with it?
Yeah, what do I say? It's the world we live in. And it isn't me. It's not me. Yeah, I feel empty like everybody else. But when when the law comes to you and they don't generally know you and they ask you what's going on or what do you know or whatever, I don't think I'm biting your story here on we're checking every house. I'm just how I feel.
While Jim has said some odd things, he hasn't done anything to warrant an arrest or search of his house. The investigators try to leave so they can continue their interviews, but Jim is insistent on letting them search his house so he can clear his name.
You want to go out and look at that bike? You can see for yourself.
No, we
want to fingerprint the bike?
No, we believe you.
Do you want to do anything here at all? You want to search the property? You're welcome. Go for it.
We'll get out of your hair. We appreciate it.
Jim uses a convincing statement. This is a way of essentially trying to push his innocence. He likely believes that if he readily and easily agrees to participate in all these searches, that they might not follow through on them since he isn't acting in a suspicious way by refusing them. It's almost like he has a playbook of what he thinks he needs to do to look innocent, and is trying to tick off the boxes to get them to move on for good. Despite Jim's insistence on a thorough check of the property, the investigators leave and continue their questioning of residents at other nearby houses. However, as the evidence from the suspected abduction scene gets processed, disturbing information is discovered that forces investigators to go back to Jim's house a few hours later for another round of questioning.
Hi, we're back.
What you back for?
I'm his boss. I was sort of checking on him a little bit. We want to talk to you a couple more things.
Okay.
We want to rule you out. Helmet?
Oh.
You said something. You went back, you found out there's a helmet down the road. You said something about losing your helmet? Yeah. What about it? We just want to square away a couple more things.
Well, okay. Well, ask me whatever question you want to ask me.
Tuesday you left here on your Honda.
Yes.
Where did you go from there?
I went up around Lyons. I just go all the back country road. I just ride everywhere. Okay. I have no particular route or whatever. But I had trouble with the bike, and I made it down Road U, and I came back down Road 6, and I got here about 10 o'clock. So
where did you go before you got on Road U?
I went all up around. I take off and I go west. I just run that way. I run wherever I go. I wasn't really paying attention.
It's possible that Jim wasn't paying enough attention to his route to give any specifics, but it certainly seems odd that he's struggling to remember any relevant details about his route, such as where his bike stopped working.
So you guys got some suspicions for something here. Let's
Well, I talked to them about the helmet.
What about the helmet? You found a helmet?
Yes.
Okay, where's the helmet at? Who had it?
You mean who had it? It was along the road.
You found it along the road?
Well, I didn't find it, but someone did.
Well, bring it on here, because I want my helmet back.
Well, that's why we're here mostly, is because the helmet looks like it might have some blood on it.
No.
Jim's flat-out denial of what the investigators are telling him is a weird reaction for someone in his position. He seems to just assume that the investigators are either wrong or lying to him. There's also a long pause and a filler word, before he speaks. This is a change in cadence from what we've heard from him so far.
Have you ever been DNA swabbed for anything?
Yes, I have.
So you're in what we would call CODIS?
1990.
Were you arrested?
Yes, sir.
What was that all about?
See, you guys want to dig a hole and throw me in it.
I'm not going to throw you in any hole.
And
people make mistakes. We're trying to talk to you and find out what your past is.
Okay, well, my past is whatever is shown on record.
Don't have those.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I don't have them.
Not only is he attempting to present himself as a victim, Jim is also fishing for info here. He doesn't want to admit to anything they don't already know, but also doesn't want to get caught in a lie.
And they go through everything.
Marijuana grow, yeah, we'd be
here for like all day.
Oh, marijuana grow.
Yeah.
And that's what you actually went for, right?
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Okay.
Jim seems strangely defensive over growing marijuana, leading investigators to believe he might be hiding something more sinister from them. Is it possible that as they talk with Jim in his engine repair shop, Sierra might be somewhere else on the property, captive and scared for her life? Just like last time, Jim offers to let the investigators search his property, and this time they take him up on it. While both his shop and house seem normal, investigators begin to notice red flags as they enter his barn.
What's all the undergarments for?
What's all the what?
Adult diapers.
Them are from the state.
For your mom?
Yeah, I have a collection, dude. I collect under. That's not just under diapers, it's pads. We get them whether we want them or not.
When asked what the diapers are for, he repeats the question to give himself time to think and then doesn't answer the question they asked. This keeps him from having to outright lie about what he's been using them for.
Sorry about the mess, but this is how it ends up when you're doing everything by yourself.
Yeah.
For yourself. There's nothing in here. Come on, you got another section over here you can look at.
Some guy over here, the flies are all over.
I think right over there is a woodchuck hole.
If something or someone died here, this could be an explanation for the flies, and it's likely setting off alarm bells in the investigators' heads.
There's no secret hatches. They just walk. Be careful going over that tarp there.
Which tarp?
See that door over there?
Uh-huh.
Head that way. That's it.
Oh, go ahead and head that way. I'll follow.
As Jim chats with a few of the investigators about his Jeep, two of them wander off and notice a creepy area in the back of the barn that Jim hasn't shown them. What they discover is shocking, to say the least, and more than a little unsettling.
And we walk back here.
That's what I was just going to ask. I'm going back. It's a woodchuck hole. Not moving this.
Hey. So we went from having a really good
Where he raked it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there's a chef in there. And he got plastic clear bags with like panties or socks, and he has girl things.
Really?
While it isn't illegal for Jim to have bags of panties in his barn, there's no denying that it certainly is odd.
Guys, you're all kind of looking at each other, shaking your head. Don't play me off like that. What's the problem?
I'm talking about, listen, I'll tell you. The clear plastic bags of girls' names.
Of what?
The girls' names on the bag, your girlfriend.
They're not names. It's what they are.
I know, but that's strange to me.
Dude, that is not strange
Here, let's
at
go
all.
inside.
What's wrong with that? That's you in your head.
Right.
You want to take all that shit with you? It's all brand.
I know. What are you talking
It's
about?
all.
Now, if this seems strange, Jim's explanation is even more bizarre.
Oh, I've got. Look. I gift out lingerie and stuff like that.
Okay.
What the fuck is wrong with that?
Nothing's
You
wrong
give
with
it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I go out with people. Hey, listen.
Edible?
No,
Okay.
none of that stuff. Hey, you know what? If I wanted to hide it, I could have done a hell of a lot better than that. So don't try to. Don't make it. You're going to try to take this and build some goddamn thing up the ladder.
He's saying he felt strange about it.
Right. Yeah.
That's as far as it goes.
Once again, the investigators do an excellent job keeping him calm and appearing understanding to keep him talking to them. Still, Jim's explanation for the bags of lingerie seems flimsy at best. Not only does it seem unlikely that he's going out with people often enough to warrant the sheer number of bags found, but it's also undeniably weird to store said bags in a dusty box in a barn. As the investigators continue to go back over Jim's story, he gets increasingly hostile towards them.
When you had stopped, you pulled it over, you tucked it away back there, you just didn't want anyone to see you. And
Right.
so
And then here comes the girl on the bike and I attack her, huh? Is that what you're thinking?
No,
It's not what happened. I'm not involved in it.
That's not what I was going to say.
No, but it's what you're thinking. You're trying, yeah, and you don't like it because I'm coming at you straight here. Where'd the other guy go? No. Bring him back in here now or the interview's over. Because I don't like having cheese done under my nose. And
For someone that was so insistent on having the investigators search his property only a few hours earlier, Jim now seems terrified at the idea of someone looking where they shouldn't be. And this terror is going to cause him to make a major mistake.
We never said we didn't believe you. Just because we're asking you questions doesn't mean we don't believe you.
Yeah, and you're back here for a second time.
Because we found some things and we just wanted to know what you
I want to know what you found. Helmet.
Yeah, the helmet.
A helmet. Okay.
You said you left the helmet. We need to rule you out.
Fuses, a little screwdriver, my helmet, and my glasses. Because I take all that off when I'm pushing.
Okay.
Everything was in the helmet. There is a helmet hook if you open the seat up, but I hang it on the turn signal thing. If I was going to attack a chick, would I leave? And I've been around the block. Would I leave any evidence whatsoever to be found?
You're saying you've killed before and you know not to leave evidence?
I'm just saying, sir, and that's not cool to say that.
No, it's cool. I'm saying.
No, I haven't killed anyone.
Okay, then you wouldn't very well know how to hide stuff or why.
I got 5.5 years of prison underneath. I watch TV like everybody else, and if somebody's going to commit a crime, they don't need their driver's license sitting on the table. But that wouldn't be me.
Jim claimed previously that his only prison time was for substances. The investigators definitely picked up on Jim's strange choice of words here, and now they'll be listening closely for any other potential slip-ups.
When's the last time you saw your helmet on your motorcycle? Or do you wear it when you ride?
I honestly don't know where I lost it.
Do you wear it when you ride?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I do not ride without
You
it.
said you didn't go back and look for it. It was dark. Why did you not go out and stick?
I'm here. I'm sore. I got a bad hip.
You could ride it in the truck, have your brother drive.
I could have done a lot of things, but you know what? If I lost the helmet, I don't know where to look for it. And chances are somebody's going to pick it up if they see it first. So I just simply didn't do it. You're trying to build this thing into something that just isn't there. I'm telling you, I did not hurt anyone. I did not lay in the cornfield and wait and attack anyone.
It's interesting that Jim is presenting a few hypotheticals without the officers asking for them. It's almost as if he's trying to get his denials in before they even ask the questions. Since Jim is getting more and more defensive with each question, investigators see if there's a different way they can get information out of him.
Jim,
Yes.
You're maintaining no involvement, and that's good.
Yep.
Would you take a polygraph?
Would you?
Yeah, if I didn't do anything.
Jim fully refuses to take a polygraph, citing an article he read claiming that polygraphs are wrong 2/3 of the time. He's not entirely wrong, since there's debate on the accuracy of polygraphs. Although Jim is reluctant to give them information through a polygraph, investigators have another trick up their sleeves.
The last time that you had your DNA sample taken was in 1990.
Yes.
Will you give a sample today?
Sure. But it's in the system. Okay, so you're swabbing me, so you're thinking I'm connected with this?
No, if your helmet is found at the scene, we want to clear you. You say you have no connection to it.
Just go get it and get it over with.
Okay.
I want to find her alive.
Exactly.
What's that?
I want to find her alive, and I want you to be out of it, and we want to go home.
Dude, I hope you do.
Yeah.
You know what? That clears me.
As one of the investigators handles collecting Jim's DNA, two of them wander off to have a secret conversation.
They did a search warrant. They're coming with the search warrant. Oh, okay. I mean, it's the whole place, but the end area was suspicious. They're going to wait. They're waiting until we tell them. Yeah, we need to keep them cooperating.
Well, I can verify that I touched the bike, dude, but
Right.
plus this is already on file. I mean, I don't see how it's really helping.
It's just a better, clearer picture.
With his DNA swabbed and his fingerprints taken, Jim is finally told about the search warrant being enacted. While Jim is given his copy of the search warrant, one of the investigators is already being called over to look at disturbing findings made by the CSI team.
We all noticed the rake marks in here, right?
Yeah, we're gonna shovel
And
the
those,
dirt.
hey,
Yeah.
they're arranged like a room.
Yeah, give them some room.
Huh?
Pardon me?
Those hay things are stacked like a room. There was a little area.
Oh, there was?
Like big enough for that mattress.
Really?
Yeah. There's blood on the
Oh, cool.
and on the rail, maybe on the exhaust. So we are going to take him around and we're going to hit him with it. And we're going to see if we can get some. He's resigned himself. I think he knows. I just don't know that we're going to get him to come here to us. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think he knows. So, and he said, he's like, why are they looking in the back of the truck? Trying to get him away. He doesn't need to watch what's going on because he's not going to be engaged though. We want him engaged.
But what's funny is he's acting like he hates it. He loves it.
Oh yeah.
He is loving every minute of it.
If that's her blood.
And
Yeah.
but we were shit in there is weird as hell. Like once we looked into it, I thought, oh god.
There was like a little room made out of strawberry bales with a mattress in the middle of the room. And down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We had a discussion a little bit on honesty and the methodicalness of things that are to go through. And the question was, is if they're going to be her, any type of her DNA, any blood splatter, any type of anything that has to do with her.
Right.
It's been found.
Where?
The motorcycle.
On the motorcycle?
Yes.
No way.
We've been straight. We've all been
How can you
straight.
find
And a
DNA?
palm print
No, blood.
Blood.
on the helmet.
Blood will have DNA.
On the helmet, there's a palm print.
No way.
Yes, way. As methodical and as careful as people can be cleaning up.
In our continuing effort of being straightforward.
And how do you find DNA on a motorcycle?
Blood.
In 5 minutes.
Blood, which contains DNA.
Okay, and how do you know it's her blood?
We don't yet.
Okay. And how do you know that it is connecting me to any crime?
Typically, an innocent person would assume it's their own blood, or be sure in their conviction that the blood isn't Sierra's. Instead, he starts asking a lot of questions, trying to see if he can get more information or an explanation from the officers. This way, he could adjust his story to fit the evidence better. He gets around to saying it must be mine, but that isn't his first response.
There's blood on the motorcycle.
Where at? Just
Listen. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Why the is there blood on your handlebars? I mean, we've been straight with you from this point.
There's no blood on my handlebars.
So how is there's blood on your handlebars? Oh, seriously?
Hey, listen.
Why is there blood on a helmet found at the crime scene?
You'll find out that if there's blood on my goddamn motorcycle, it'll be mine.
What's on your why is there blood, a bloody handprint on the helmet, a palm print on the helmet? Yours.
Palm print. Mine? I don't believe that there is.
Okay.
Just don't. Seriously.
I'm not. You.
Well, I'm not directly believing you either.
Once again, Jim is petulantly refusing to believe the evidence found by investigators.
Jim?
Yes.
The straw bales. There was a little room inside the straw bales and a mattress in there. What's the deal with that?
Air go through the building, dude.
The mattress?
Dude, that's just junk. I store. Dude, if I was going to have some little chamber or whatever, it wouldn't be someplace at my house where it could be found. Remember, I'm tired here. I'm trying.
I know, a mattress in the middle of a bunch of straw bales.
Dude, that's
kind of weird.
That's a makeup. That's a camping.
If I had a mattress, I don't think I'd throw it in the middle of straw.
It's not a mattress. Hell, there's a mattress in here.
Well, it makes more sense to be in here than with straw.
Oh, that's a big heavy son of a bitch, and that's because we got Mama medical bed. And what am I going to do with it? So I took it out here 5 years ago or whatever when we bought the bed and stuck it out there. You're not going to find anybody's DNA on that except my mom.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, let's get this over with.
Well, we're trying to do that.
We're trying to get things over with for the family, too, you know?
I understand.
They've got a daughter missing. They don't know what happened to her. You know, they love her. You know, can you imagine if something happened to you and your mom didn't have you or anything? And, you know, it's sad. and we're trying to find answers for them. You know, they go to sleep at night. They don't know where she's at. If they do sleep at night, they're never going to have answers.
Right.
You know, I can't imagine.
As Jim's house is searched, other teams are working to recover evidence anywhere they can, including footage from surveillance cameras in the abduction area. While Jim is claiming to have just gone for a motorcycle ride by himself that evening, the cameras are showing something drastically different.
People do have a lot of cameras.
Yeah.
You used to have cameras. Can you imagine?
Don't even try to pressure me with a camera.
No,
talk.
but I don't even know what we have either. I'm just telling you, people do have a lot of cameras.
Yeah.
There's always cameras. There's always.
And it shows me attacking this chick.
I never did that.
No.
Why did you bring it up then?
Because I'm telling you, there's video that points to you at the right time.
Points to me for what?
Do I have to tell you everything?
Pushing down my bike down the road?
Well, no. What it indicated to me when I heard what they have would be that your brother was driving the truck down.
Dude. Right.
Hey, you asked.
Good job. Unbelievable.
Jim's maniacal laughter sounds fake, and it's possible that he's trying to appear nonchalant so that the investigators can't tell if they're close to catching him in a lie. That, or he's mocking them. If this footage of his truck turns out to be the real deal, then Jim's story may be on the verge of falling apart.
Look, there's school video that have you
and my truck going by
on your motorcycle going there, and about 15 or 20 minutes later, the truck going by.
I don't want to cut my throat here, but I may have with that, because when I got back, Mark was on the porch, and I told him I come with my motorcycle.
Riding or pushing?
And I drove down the road and back looking for the helmet. I'm trying to distance myself at that point with all this questioning and stuff. That was me driving the truck. Honest to God.
15 minutes.
Just down to where I was at and back, and I didn't see my helmet.
How did you get back here to get the truck in 15 minutes?
On the motorcycle.
I thought you said it didn't work.
I made it back here. It was running when I pulled in the driveway.
At 10 o'clock at night?
From being down there, yeah. From pushing and driving and whatever.
Notice how readily and easily he comes up with a change to his story that doesn't make his story a lie, but fits the evidence that he believes they have. He's stuck in the liar's loop here, trying to adjust his story as he finds out more information and is confronted with inconsistencies.
I just don't want to try to get myself into a hole that you guys are digging me in.
Well,
everything else I've been told.
You kind of got yourself in a hole right there.
Because you just didn't tell
Well,
it,
but
yeah.
you know what?
That's a major problem.
Well, you know, that major problem will be handled by an attorney.
That's fine.
When we face the major problem, okay? And the thing is...
So when you drove down there, what time did you drive down there in your truck?
I went down there about 10 o'clock, right after I got home. It was 10:15 when I left here, down and back.
Which truck's yours? There's a...
All of these trucks are mine.
Which one did you drive down to look at it?
It would have been the green truck.
Okay.
And if that's on the high school video,
Wouldn't have been the red one.
No. I used the red one for the daily vehicle to go to Kroger's.
If Jim didn't want to appear suspicious to investigators, then lying to them was probably the last thing he should have done. Not only does he now look like he has something to hide, but any shred of trust the investigator still had with him is likely broken.
So I guess the only lie was that you didn't go looking for your helmet.
That was it. I'm sorry.
That's the only lie in the
I'm
whole
not
thing.
trying to get myself buried into this. All right?
But you'll say I dropped my helmet on a roadway where there was some young girl come up missing, but you're afraid to say I went back and looked for it?
Yeah,
And that's
it made
human nature.
sense.
If I left something, I'm going to go back
Dude,
and get it.
I didn't leave something. I
You
lost
dropped it.
something.
How does it just fall off?
Look at my bike and look at the turn signal things. I'm pushing the bike down the road and look, I've lost a few of them.
And the helmet wakes, what kind of noise when it
A lot of
hangs
noise.
on an asphalt driveway?
Dude, I wouldn't have lost it. I wouldn't have lost it. I'm a sick for looking over at whatever you're looking at. Dan, when you lose something, you don't realize that you've done it. Okay? I didn't realize that I didn't have my until the next time that I stopped the bike. And I'm not...
Where?
Well, that's just it. I'm not sure.
From bloody handlebars to damning surveillance footage, the evidence is stacking up against him, and Jim may not be able to handle that kind of pressure. However, if he thinks the evidence against him is bad now, there's no telling how he'll react to what investigators just found in his barn.
When I was here earlier, I'm a twisted sick myself.
Wow.
When you were here earlier, if you knew what I do for a living, it's dealing with twisted sick. When I sat in your room listening to you talk earlier as a twisted sick.
Why do you gotta come at me like this?
Because I'm really kind of pissed right now.
Why?
Because you embarrassed every one of us.
For what?
There's a freezer buried in that one back room that you were concerned about where you raked.
Dude, that's my dope stash spot. I grow weed, I smoke weed, that's it. I don't buy.
No one's going to go to that much trouble in 2016. Bull. There's no weed in it.
You know? Maybe in a couple of months there would have been.
Really?
Is she on this property?
Seriously.
Huh?
Is she on this property?
No, she's not.
Was she on this property?
No, she was not.
Was any part of her body on this property?
Not that I know of, no.
That's a different answer.
Yeah, that's
than you
not
just
an
said.
answer.
Yeah.
Is there any part of her body on this property?
No.
As pointed out by investigators, a secret buried freezer is a more than concerning find during a kidnapping investigation. And Jim's explanation just isn't cutting it. His answer, not that I know of, is an exclusion qualifier, which is much different than a definitive answer as it leaves the door open to the possibility that he could be withholding information.
Well, anyways, the sick part, dude, they're disconnect me. But now you got all these problems now and all this stuff you found.
They're not my problem.
They keep adding up, though, Jim.
Yeah, well, you know what? Things add up sometimes. They still don't give you an accurate account.
You can give us an accurate account. If you think we are saying things that are incorrect,
I think I'm getting played to a certain point.
You think we're playing you.
He's trying to press buttons.
No, I'm not. I'm just expressing my frustration that the fact that I stood here sticking up for you.
Yeah,
now
well,
I'm being embarrassed.
dude, you'll find out that if there's any blood on that frickin'
Wait a minute. I know what he's saying. He's saying if there's a freezer buried there and there's nothing in it, including pot, why wouldn't you say, hey, there's a freezer under there?
Why would I say something to that to you?
Because it's a freezer in the
because it's
ground.
a weird thing. Who buries an effing freezer?
Why do you think I brought up
Yes.
you raking? That
It's
was to
weird.
say, like, come on,
It's
buddy.
weird. Admit it. It's
They're
weird.
digging.
Jim has a habit of repeating the question to give himself time to think of his answer in order to try to say the right thing. Jim may be trying to play dumb about why he didn't tell them about the freezer, but the investigators aren't going to fall for it. Not only did Jim not tell them about his suspicious freezer, but he actually went out of his way to say that there weren't any secret areas in the barn.
There's no secret hatches.
The existence of Jim's secret underground freezer was suspicious enough, but the more investigation that was done around it, the more concerning it became. Not only did the freezer reek of ammonia, but a CSI cadaver dog alerted on it, meaning that a human body had potentially been stored in the freezer for some time.
Is there any other freezers buried here?
No.
Why
That's my stash.
say anything?
Yeah, I know.
Why wouldn't you say something? Dude, I mean, you continually...
Did you just assume we weren't going to find it? I mean, come on.
Dude, that's
I'm not a dude.
Look. I didn't want to become involved in this.
Well, you are.
Digging your hole.
You're digging your hole. No, you're digging your hole. I mean,
I'm
you know
not
that.
digging a hole.
You really are. That
The only
helmet
thing
thing?
I've lied about is the goddamn going down there with the pickup truck and back because I didn't want to just look like I'm still involved with doing something wrong.
Notice that the investigators go back and forth between confronting him, quite harshly, to being buddy-buddy again, and he just swings right back with them. It's definitely suspicious because an innocent person most likely wouldn't put up with that for very long and would likely grow frustrated. However, Jim seems to want to know everything that's going on, and so he goes along with the different approaches so he can continue to talk to the investigators. Despite Jim's insistence, it's becoming undeniable to investigators that he was somehow involved in Sierra's disappearance. The investigators next try a tactic we often see, minimizing the crime by offering alternative theories. This is another example of how skilled these investigators really are. While they don't seem to follow the Reed technique line for line, they are clearly familiar enough with the process that they weave the skills throughout the process of talking to him quite easily.
Sometimes we slip up, maybe, like I said, if there was an accident, you weren't intending
How do
something to be
you have
criminal.
an accident like that.
Like what?
Like what you're...
I don't know what happened. That's the thing.
Well, that makes two of us.
Well, then it could have been an accident for all I know.
Yeah, involving someone else. But I think there's been a crime.
I'm actually siding on someone hit her by accident. Panicked, got rid of her.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, why would someone do that?
That happens.
Oh, bullshit. Didn't happen. No accident.
Here we have another potential slip-up from Jim. The investigators know very little about what actually happened to Sierra at the abduction site. If Jim really is as innocent as he says he is, then he should know even less than they do. For him to comment on Sierra having an accident like that implies that he knows what happened to Sierra. While he could have just misspoken, investigators are likely making a mental note of this dubious comment. Despite the horrifying discoveries made thus far, investigators are still hopeful that they might be able to find Sierra before it's too late.
What's the spinning?
I don't know. I just went and looked at your freezer.
Well, why you went down there? Nobody said nothing.
Your freezer's kind of odd.
You guys in here?
Everything about that room is odd.
Dude, and it smells like leaf. Or ammonia. Smells like something.
Dude, I tatted it. The whole building, like I said, has been sprayed, and it's been sprayed over a few months.
You dug that up and sprayed the freezer?
What's that?
You dug that up and sprayed the freezer?
I didn't dig up anything. I sprayed that whole building down with bleach a week ago.
Why the hell would you do that?
To kill anything in that building.
Bleach doesn't kill bugs.
No, but it sterilizes and cleans.
Straw.
And it keeps...
And dirt, you know.
Jim's story is falling apart at the seams. While the investigators may have been playing friendly with Jim earlier while he was talking nonsense, they certainly aren't now. It makes no sense for him to randomly decide to spray his barn down with bleach, especially not if he was trying to deal with bugs. However, it does make sense that he might bleach his barn if someone had recently died in there.
Now, did they ask him about the pretty pink panties? The blood all over them?
There are no pretty pink panties with blood on them.
Oh, I beg to differ.
Oh, bring them over here.
You want me to see if we could bring them? I don't know. It's up to you.
Sure.
But there are some beautiful little pink panties with blood all over them.
I might have to get upset again.
My plan, which I haven't bring this up because I'm private inside,
Okay.
and you're going to say, oh, but there's several of my friends know that back section of the barn is going to be turned into my own little studio. I'm going to have...
Once again, Jim deflects. His answer doesn't explain the panties with blood, but he's deflecting to try to shock the detectives and get them off the topic of the bloody panties.
Video.
And run it as a video. No, run it as a business. That's why I've been buying the shit off the internet. Plus, I gift it. So you're going to sick for me and think it's all wild and strange, weird. I want to put this out of the way, stow it until it's needed, because that is the plan for me to do after Mom dies.
But it goes back to the whole storing them in the dusty end of the barn.
Dude,
under the hay bale.
Dude, they're bagged up. That stuff's all been moved around. I just haven't sat there. I haven't found the final resting place for anything. And you want to say, oh, geez, there's no dust on it. Why is all this stuff here? I kind of just gave you a leak into my future.
Although Jim may be telling the truth about wanting to start an adult entertainment studio, it's suspicious that he's waited until now to mention it. In addition, he has yet to provide an explanation for the blood on the underwear.
Okay, and I've only look at my computer records for like a year and a half.
The investigators did take Jim up on his offer to look through his computer records, and they were thoroughly disturbed by what they found. Among his recent searches included keywords like hitchhiker, hogtied, gag, and helpless. Pairing these terms together with the evidence found in the barn is beginning to paint a horrid picture. Further evidence against Jim is also being found outside of the barn, as his trucks are being searched.
Yeah, they're taking your people.
Seriously?
Well, there's some things we've already found in them. I can tell you definitely are of interest. They're odd, which I'm sure you're aware of.
Hey, what's odd?
Well, there's 2 spots in the truck where it's been bleached and carbon.
Oh, listen.
An explanation for
yeah, but you're gonna...
everything.
Well, listen.
Those pink panties with blood?
Yeah, well, guess what? There are no pink plantings with blood. I already know that. That's in your line. This is why, right? This is why it's like, goddamn, man. I'm just done talking.
Although Jim is done talking about the case, he's willing to chat with investigators about other parts of his life.
You're saying you couldn't sleep, or?
Dude, I have a problem sleeping. I have to be dead tired, man, and I cannot sleep. Elysium clock or whatever. That's all. See, I drove for 8.5, 9 years, and that's 24/7. And then I stepped right in from that into just as bad because Mom gets that damn doorbell. I either assist her on and off the toilet or she crashes and burns. You have to take care of her.
Despite talking with investigators for the next several hours, Jim continued to insist that he was innocent and that he was being tricked. The search of his house finally started winding down around 1 in the morning, and it was eventually determined that the blood on Jim's motorcycle belonged to a female. Blood was also discovered in the buried freezer, reaffirming investigators' suspicions. Little did they know this was only the beginning of the horrific discoveries to be made. Still, to them, the truth of the matter was clear, and one FBI supervisor went as far as to voice his theory right in front of Jim.
You're not wearing your helmet because you always wear it.
Second, if I attack somebody down there, this chick, why would I leave all this laying around?
No, that's the next question for me is, if he attacks her down there, why is he leaving laying around?
I mean, really.
Right. The thing I'm thinking is, whatever.
I have a feeling
But
the attorney that we hired is going to chop this thing up into small pieces that are understandable by regular people like myself.
And that's where we're at.
And you got all this complex data or whatever.
There's no data. Here's the thing.
You're going to
the helmet's there. It's got blood on it. His bike is now here. It's got the same blood on it. That bike and the helmet have to be together. If you lose your helmet,
dude,
if you lose your helmet, the helmet's lost.
I'm not buying that blood on my bike.
I don't ask you to buy it. I'm just telling you. I'm not whispering to him. I'm just telling him.
Right.
Here.
And I'm hearing you.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm not buying it.
You're fine not to buy it. I'm not asking you a question if you should buy it or not. I'm just telling you from my perspective, from how I look at this. If there's blood on the helmet and blood on
the way you're explaining it, it's like bing, bing, bing. They all tie together.
They all do tie together.
And the
question is,
in your scenario here,
and the question is, if, as he said, if he was going to kill that girl, why would he leave everything?
And how would I haul her around?
Yeah.
How do you
There's where the truck comes in.
There's where the truck comes in.
Right,
oh, dude.
And that's why you don't want to tell us about the truck.
You gotta
because
be kidding me.
I got to go back and get her. And I can't find the helmet because it's dark out. And I had to wait till it's dark out because if I get her now, she's in the corner. But if I get her now, somebody's going to see me. So I can't go back.
And how can I haul her on a motorcycle?
I can't haul her on a motorcycle. And now when I go back and it's dark out, can't find a freaking helmet.
See, this has been the big wind-up pitch at the end of the evening.
But you know what?
I'm not buying everything that I'm hearing.
First of all, it's not the end of the evening. And 80% of what we just discussed, we didn't know an hour or two ago. So it isn't like it's been a planned thing.
With the mountain of evidence stacked against him, it was no surprise when Jim was finally arrested just moments later for Sierra's abduction. Evidence processing continued following Jim's arrest, and it seemed like there would be no end to the disturbing discoveries. The mattress found in the makeshift hay bale room was tested for DNA alongside the blood-covered underwear, both of which came back as a match to Sierra. Additionally, zip ties, hair strands, dried blood, duct tape, a ski mask, and pepper spray were all found in Jim's truck. Although the authorities were prepared to move forward with Jim's prosecution without a body, it wasn't long until Sierra was finally discovered. Several hours after Jim's arrest, Sierra's remains were found by a search team where it had been shallowly buried in a field a few miles from Jim's property. While this discovery was disheartening enough, the state of Sierra's body made investigators' stomachs turn. She was found with her arms and legs bound behind her back, and from what they could tell, she had some sort of object stuck in her mouth. At the time of her death, she'd been wearing a lacy white cloth top, as well as an adult diaper. The white cloth top was found to be nearly identical to others found in Jim's bags of lingerie. It was also determined that the object in Sierra's mouth was a gag that was very similar to other BDSM items found on Jim's property. While Sierra had external wounds, including a laceration to her forehead and a contusion on her leg, it was determined that she died due to asphyxiation caused by the overly large gag. The discovery of Sierra's body caused unimaginable pain for those who loved her, but it was the final nail in the coffin for the case against Jim, and investigators had no doubt that he would pay for what he had done to her. In the lead-up to his trial, there was one thing on everybody's minds. Why was Jim so prepared for this abduction? Although he had made several mistakes which led to his arrest, he seemed to have an idea of what he was doing. With utmost horror, it was soon discovered that the reason Jim was so prepared was because this wasn't his first abduction. In 1990, 26-year-old Robin Gardner was out riding her bike when she was hit by a passing truck and knocked into a ditch. Although Robin initially thought the situation was just a bad accident, she soon realized how wrong she was. Robin found herself face to face with James Worley, the truck's driver, as he held a screwdriver to her neck and ordered her to get into his truck, or else he would kill her. Jim then put a pair of handcuffs on Robin and trapped her inside of his car. Luckily, Robin was able to break out of the car and tear down the street, where she was eventually found by a passing motorcyclist. He brought Robin to safety, allowing her to call the cops, and Jim was soon arrested. Although Jim insisted that Robin was making her entire story up, he was brought to trial and found guilty. Although he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, he would end up only serving for 2. As details about Jim's previous abduction charges came to light, it became sickeningly clear how similar Sierra Joggin and Robin Gardner's cases were, and a terrifying question was raised. Were there more victims? In 1996, only a few years after Jim was released from prison, he became a suspect in the case of Claudia Tinsley, an adult entertainer who'd gone missing. Although Jim never received any charges associated with the case, many believe that he may have more unknown victims. Jim's trial officially began in March of 2018, and he was quickly found guilty on charges of felonious assault, kidnapping, abduction, tampering with evidence, aggravated murder, and abuse of a corpse. For his crimes, Jim was sentenced to capital punishment. Jim has managed to keep himself busy as he sits on death row. In a shocking move, he wrote a 105-page manifesto detailing how he believes he's being set up by police. Those who have seen the manifesto have commented on how creepy and meticulous Jim's handwriting is. His execution is currently set for May 20th, 2025. While Sierra's family was relieved that her killer was facing justice, they argued that her death might have been avoided entirely if police had known there was a violent offender in the area. A petition was created urging lawmakers to create a violent offender registry in Ohio. The petition got over 13,000 signatures, and by December of 2018, a bill known as Sierra's Law was signed into place. Although the law came at the cost of a precious life, Sierra's mother made comments stating that she hoped it could bring something positive from her daughter's tragic death. As well, following a wrongful death suit, Sheila Vachulik, Sierra's mother, was granted Jim's property. Calling it a dark piece of land, the grieving mother decided to have bulldozers completely demolish the farmhouse where he lived as part of her healing process and to honor Sierra's memory. When we reached out to Jim to speak about his case, he only had this to say: "Thanks, but I'm not interested."